Hello, my name is Kadra Townsend. Today I'm going to be talking to you about redesigning new student orientation for community colleges. This is my final project for ELAD 5240, Management of Student Services. I want to talk a little bit about my experience with new student orientation. I had originally started at a community college, and I very much so remember being in one room, being given presentations back to back over the course of about 2 hours, and then that was pretty much it. We had no campus tour, we didn't get to meet anyone. It was just one of the advisors presenting to us over the course of 2 hours. So I have ideas on how to revamp that. And then when I went into my bachelor's degree, I was able to do a transfer orientation, which was completely online. So I don't have a lot of experience with new student orientation other than those two. So I'm really just going off of what I would like to see. When we discuss new student orientation, one of the main things to think about is the student population. This includes who is required to attend. For me, I feel new student orientation is most beneficial for incoming freshmen, transfer students, and students who have been stopped out for over 5 years. These are the students that I would want to require to attend to it. However, there's always extenuating circumstances, as if they are an online student or if they may have transportation issues, in which case alternate arrangements could be made. For new student orientation, I feel there are 3 main objectives that students should take away. The first one is to aid students with entering, transferring, or returning to college. New student orientation should operate as a support service for students to be able to help them through that initial process. We should be able to inform students and their families of campus resources and services to support their educational journey. I feel a lot of students enter college unaware of those resources and services that are available to them. So having that integrated into new student orientation will allow that bridge to be gapped and help with overall student success. The last one is to enable students to feel connected to the institution, allowing them to feel excited and confident about their educational journey. We want students to come in and feel confident and excited, and the only way that we can do that is by providing programming to allow them to have those feelings. When I look at learning outcomes that I would like students to walk away with, I have 6 main ones that I have included on the slide. One of those is the use of the college interface. This could be something, as far as New Mexico State is concerned, My NMSU. This allows students to be able to view their financial aid information, registration process, and we could technically tie in Canvas into that as well. Again, related to the college interface, students should understand the registration process, what that looks like. This can include important deadlines such as when you can drop a class by, if there's fees associated with that, and just general what needs to be done as far as registering. Students should walk away understanding their degree requirements, at least as much as they can. When students come in, they may still be unaware of what they want to do, so they may be starting out with something general. But if we have a student coming in and they know what they want to do, we want them to understand their degree requirements, how long it might take them to complete their degree, and if there's anything extra or special that they might need to do to complete that degree. We want them to feel prepared for college level academics. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this when I talk about the programming and what that looks like. We want students to understand financial aid requirements and have their financial aid file complete so that we know they will be hopefully receiving financial aid. This is going to include having their FAFSA completed, ensuring they've submitted any sort of transcripts or any sort of other documents that financial aid may be needing. They've accepted authorization to pay, and any other tasks that financial aid might need done. And the last thing is to understand institution policies and behavior expectations. Especially for our incoming freshmen, there is a big difference between high school policies and behavior and what is expected in college. So specifically for those freshmen, we want them to understand and be able to set their best foot forward to be successful. For my new student orientation, I would like to see this done in a hybrid model. This can include a pre-NSO that is done on Canvas, as well as a one-day in-person session. For the Canvas pre-NSO module, I would like to see this consist of a general welcome. This could be from the chancellor or president. It can include a welcome video or a paragraph about them. I would like to see them learn how to use Canvas, for them to learn how to post a welcome discussion so they can understand how discussions board works, setting up their net ID and being able to understand the difference between the net ID and the student ID. For students to understand email, we can have students send a test email if there is a box that might be monitored, so we can see that students are doing that successfully. I would like students to learn more about financial aid. This could include explaining what financial aid is, satisfactory academic progress requirements, how to check that their financial aid file is complete. We should include accessibility services information, student support services such as TRIO or Veterans Affairs. We should include academics. This can include catalog, introducing faculty such as specific instructors or the dean. We want students to be involved on campus, so we should talk about student life, why they should get involved, ways to get involved, and the different student groups they can be involved in. Campus resources is a big part of what we want them to take away from. So we could discuss things such as the library, if the institution has mental health resources, such as New Mexico State has timely care, technology support, the bookstore, food options on campus, if there's a wellness center or a gym, tutoring services that are available, campus police, and parking instructions. We want them to walk away knowing how to view the course schedule, how to view their schedule, for them to register for classes, for them to have information about the cashier's or bursar's office, how to understand their bill, and how to pay their bill if they have a balance. That can include setting up a payment plan. We want to provide them information on career services, and we want them to understand what is next, and that would be what happens at the in-person new student orientation. For my in-person new student orientation session, there would be a welcome session in which introductions could be made by the college president or chancellor. Since community colleges are rather small, sometimes that's a little bit more attainable. This is where we'd want to introduce resources in person. So if there's any key resources that we would want there, such as tutoring services, career services, advisement. I would really like to see micro workshops with resources present in the breakout rooms. Things I would like to see taught would be financial literacy. During this session, we could have financial aid available in the room to answer any questions. Time management. I know at my institution, the TRIO program has specific workshops on this. So this could be a great time for TRIO to be able to do a little bit of recruiting for their student population. Study skills and test anxiety. In this session, we can include the tutoring center and the library, and how to balance college and life. For this, I would like to see accessibility services as well as any counseling services if those are offered on your campus. After this, I think this is a great time to take a little break, walk around, and get that campus tour. We want students to be able to understand where those main buildings are and what the different resources are so they can see where they need to go when they have questions. Most new student orientations should have a food component of some type. For this, I put lunch. That could consist of anything from lighter snacks to a full lunch. During the lunchtime, if we're doing something like a full lunch, this would be a great place to have a resource fair. This could be where there are tables set up for any resource that wants to have an in-person table with students, so the students can come and ask questions, they can provide information. This could be a potential scholarship opportunity for students if they meet with so many resources. Their name could be put in for a scholarship drawing. This is something I've seen done in the past. Then we want students to plan for their success. So this could be when students get the chance to talk with advisement and faculty to understand that college life and knowledge and be able to meet with those who they're going to be working closely with, such as their advisor, and if they're key faculty members based on their degree program. I would also include a in-person college interface presentation. This could be them physically being shown how to work the different institutional programs, such as my NMSU, Canvas, Lobo Mail, looking at their financial aid file, and that would fall under the financial aid component. If students have not already registered, this would be a great time for them to get registered or change their schedule if they need to. And at the end of this, we would do a survey so we can get that knowledge on what they learned and what they would like to see changed. And then this would be a great time for them to be able to check out, and we would know they've completed it, and we can mark their new student orientation hold as complete. During new student orientation, we want to make sure we're supporting all students. So we can look at inclusion and accessibility. Inclusion and accessibility will vary based on the individual student's needs. When students are getting registered, they can choose to disclose any accommodations that may need. This can include any sort of physical, mental, or food restrictions so that the planning team can work to find a suitable solution for that student. I've already talked a little bit about how resources can be introduced, but I really want to emphasize that resources and sharing that information is a campus-wide partnership. As I stated, we'll have resources present throughout the entire NSO, both online and in person. I would like to see that resource fair happen during lunch, and we can include resources in a swag bag or just folder, any way to give them information. When I think of swag bags, we might have to take into consideration cost. If we are doing a free new student orientation or if we're having them pay, typically if they're paying, you can do a little bit more in those swag bags, such as give them school merch. On the lower end, it might just be something as simple as a folder, a special pen, and some handouts on those resources. When looking at assessment and engagement strategies, the way I would incorporate this would be through the online Canvas modules. Again, there'd be assignments, quizzes, and just engagement based on those discussion posts. That would help know if they're meeting some of those program and learning objectives. And then we'll know if they feel like their goals were met through the post-new student orientation survey that they do at the end of the day. We've talked about how new student orientation will be structured, learning objectives, and just some general information. Now, our question is, how are we getting students to new student orientation? 3 main ways that I could see this being done is through admission letters, calling students who are new, and then social media campaigns such as posting that, hey, new student orientation is coming up. If you're not registered yet, here's the information. Because again, we do want this to be required for that set population, and we really want every student that comes to go through new student orientation. So having these different marketing tactics would hopefully gather a larger group of students. Now, you know how my new student orientation would be structured. The question is, why should students attend it? How do we convince the students to attend it? One of the main selling points that we would use realistically is, well, for those of you, it's required. But there's a little bit more to it than that. We want students to feel welcomed and engaged with the campus. So that's one of the main things that they would get to take away, is that overall feeling. New student orientation allows them to ask questions, to learn a little bit more about the campus policies, as well as the processes that it takes for both the student and the campus. And we really want students to know about those resources. So the conversation we could have with students is incorporating that information. We want them to know what it is going to entail, why they should go, where it's going to be, again including the online and the in-person session, when it's going to be. One of the things we want to consider is how many new student orientation sessions are there. We obviously know that fall semester is typically the biggest enrollment, so there would be more sessions before then, maybe 1 or 2 during the winter session, and then again maybe 3 to 4 during spring orientation. And we've covered the who needs to go and who's going to be there. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Just a little bit of a recap is I really want students to feel connected to the campus and meet those learning objectives. I feel that my new student orientation would be beneficial for students, and we really want them to come out of it with something valuable. I do believe that new student orientation should be constantly evolving based on any updated learning outcomes that students may need, as well as really reviewing the post-new student orientation survey to make sure that students' needs and goals are being met as well.